In this episode, I am delighted to introduce you all to Sneha Suresh, the podcast host of MindMatters and a human who is creating so much positive change in this world.
In my culture, you don't really talk about mental health or grief. Mind Matters has become what I needed back then that I never had. I'm hoping that we can create something so that other people don't have to go through that same kind of journey. I realized that for any actual change to happen with the concept of mental health and the stigma, it has to become a conversation. And the best part about this whole program is it's available to anybody who wants it, completely free of cost. The Indian in me clearly started showing as I brought mathematics into this. One of the biggest lessons that I have to say that I've learned with Mind Matters is...
Hello, it's so good to be back. Welcome to season 4 of My Kind of People. We will be kicking off properly in the new year, but I've had so many lovely messages from you asking if we can come back a little bit sooner. So we've decided to release this first episode over the holiday period for you all. And in this episode, I am delighted to introduce you all to Sneha Suresh, the podcast host of Mind Matters and a human who is creating so much positive change in this world. I'm so excited for you to learn more about Sneha. They are kind, intelligent, courageous. They've worked tirelessly to make mental health resources as accessible as possible. They have become an incredible friend over the last year, and I know they are going to be your kind of person too. So welcome to the podcast and the community, Sneha Suresh.
Thank you, Meg, and thank you for that incredibly kind introduction. I'm already starting to hide in my hoodie. But honestly, I am so thrilled and honored to be here and invited. I am such a big fan of you as a person and your podcast. So I am thrilled to be here.
You are so welcome. You are 100% my kind of person. I couldn't think of a more perfect person to be on the podcast, and especially starting season 4. I couldn't be more excited. So thank you so much for coming on. I was on your podcast not too long ago, so it's fun to finally get to welcome you into my community, into the Mind Kind of People community officially, even though you've been part of it for quite some time. So I'm thinking a good place to start is to probably tell listeners how we crossed paths. So would you be able to share some light on how we met and how did you end up adopting this crazy British friend?
One of the best decisions of my life, for sure. I was introduced to My Kind of People by a common friend between the two of us, Desiree Dawson, incredible human being, the embodiment of sunshine, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Des was on Mind Matters, and we ended up hitting it off, and we became really good friends. And I saw she posted about your podcast when she was a guest, and I found My Kind of People. I, of course, listened to her episode with you, and I was like, damn, I love this idea. And then I kind of binged your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
And I had it in my mind that I would love to have you on Perspectives. And I took a chance and I DM'd you. I basically slid into your Instagram DM and you said yes.
You did.
So if anything, you kind of adopted a crazy Indian friend.
Well, again, best decision I could have made. I'm so glad you slid into my DMs. What a beautiful friendship it started, and I'm just in awe of you. So I'm so happy to get to learn to know you, because I got to learn all about Mind Matters and the incredible work you're doing. But before we learn a little bit more about Mind Matters, I'd love for the community to get to learn more about you as a person. So where have you grown and flown? Where did you grow up, and where would you consider home to be now?
I have been born and brought up in India. I am actually a final year law student, hoping to become a human rights lawyer. And home is such a interesting question because every time I think about it, I realize that my answer keeps changing, but
Mm.
I'm still figuring out where home is. I'm in a really exciting stage of my life right now. I'm winding up the final year of law school, and because of my interest in international human rights law, I am planning to pursue my master's education in different countries. So I'm actually applying to the UK, to Canada. So I don't know where I'm going to be in the next couple of months, but I'm really excited about that phase of what my life is going to be because it's very different. I've always been in the same city, in the same house, and I haven't had much opportunity to explore culture and different places like that. So I'm really excited about what's to come and to find home, I guess.
It's a question that catches a lot of people, including myself. I'm still trying to work out where truly feels like home to me as well. But that's so exciting, and congratulations. Law is a very hard topic. I'm so grateful for the work you are doing for the world in it. And yeah, congratulations on all of that work coming together. And I'm so excited about your next adventure and finding home, like you say. And where in that journey from India to possibly all around the world did you start to develop your passion for mental health awareness and trying to make this less taboo? Like, were you always aware of the importance of mental health? And when did that become a main focus for you?
To be very frank, I don't think I was that uh, known to the concept. Like I had, you'd hear about it, like mental
Hmm.
health is important, and I think it was when I experienced my own journey and my own, uh, my own backstory, I guess. So a little context is when I was 16 years old, I lost my older brother, and we were incredibly close. And in my culture, you don't really talk about my mental health or grief. So when I lost someone who was that close to me and that important to me, I really struggled. And that struggle was a very long and isolating journey because I did not know how to process my grief because I was never told to talk about it. I didn't know what to do or anything in that kind of space. So I don't know, I kind of really struggled. And then back in 2020, some insane things happened, and I finally came to a place where I wanted to kind of focus my energy and passion towards creating a better space with mental health because I had a very rocky journey. Like, I eventually did go to therapy, I think 3, 4 years into my journey of grief. And that my journey with therapy also was a very rocky road because, again, I didn't know what to expect. And all of these experiences kind of pushed me towards creating Mind Matters because when I think about it now, Mind Matters has become kind of what I needed back then that I never had. And it kind of became that whole thing like make when you couldn't find what you wanted, you created it. So I'm hoping that the kind of journey that I had with what my mental health was and the especially because of the stigma, what that effect had on me, I'm hoping that we can create something so that other people don't have to go through that same kind of journey. Because the idea of others being in that same boat, I don't like it. It doesn't sit right with me. And when
Mm.
something doesn't sit right with me, I need to do something about it. And I kind of, I don't know, I know a lot of y'all say that don't say it's luck, but I think there's a little bit of luck involved that things kind of work the way it should. And I don't know, I feel like I'm on the right path right now.
Wow. Well, thank you so much in your vulnerability and sharing that. I think your honesty and bravery with that is going to help a lot of people. I'm sorry for your loss. Um, it's never easy. And the fact that you have taken something so painful and something you had so little guidance on, and you have gone out of your way to create resources and opportunities that are accessible to others that you didn't have, it makes you a superhero in my eyes, genuinely. And what you are doing,
That's
no,
very kind.
it's true. What you are doing is life-saving for a lot of people, and I think you're genuinely one of the most special people I know. I think it takes a very special person to turned such a awful and heartbreaking situation where you would have every right to be bitter at the world, and you've taken a situation where you've had to work it all out yourself, and you've gone out of the way to make sure no one else feels like that or has as little guidance as you did. I think it's truly incredible, and I'm so honored to have you on the podcast, and I'm so grateful for your vulnerability and sharing that. So thank you.
Thank you for holding the space for me.
You are so welcome. And yeah, it's so important, the work you're doing and what you're sharing. So as we previously mentioned, you are the founder of MindMatters. So please could you tell us a little bit more about how and when this was founded, and what do you hope it contributes to the world?
Yeah, absolutely. So Mind Matters actually begun just about a year ago. So sometime in October 2020 is when this little project started. And it kind of came from like a little blog where I started off as writing down some things that were kind of stressing me out. I got some things off my chest, kind of. And I realized that for any sort of actual change to happen with the concept of mental health and the stigma, it has to become a conversation. So, and I wish that it was a case where in one swing you can break down the entire stigma and the entire taboo. I wish it was that easy, but unfortunately it's not. So I had to take a step-by-step approach. So for me, when I thought about what that step-by-step approach was, is step one was me sharing my story. Step two was about creating a space where others can share their story as well. So that's kind of how the series Perspectives kind of came into existence. So Perspectives is basically a podcast series where I've been so lucky to have conversations with people from across the world, from different walks of life, where we talked about different experiences, community, and mental health, and how there are so many different kind of facets to it. Like we've had conversations about climate crisis and mental health. We've had discussions about the intersection of creativity with mental health, which is one of my favorite discussions to have. So it was a really humbling experience, and I've learned so much as well. And I was so lucky to even have you on the podcast where we got to talk about our passions as well. And that's how the series Perspectives came into existence. And then the next stage was sort of breaking this idea down about what therapy is. And I had this experience where after Perspective started coming out, a lot of people reached out. And that kind of laid the foundation for our second podcast series that we have called A Step Towards Help. And A Step Towards Help is basically a dedicated set of interviews with therapists and mental health professionals, again, from across the world, where we talk about every facet of mental health, from child psychology to addiction and mental health, disability and mental health, anxiety specific, suicide specific, everything. So we wanted to create almost a sort of guideline about what to expect from therapy. And the final stage that we really wanted to reach out and sort of tackle was accessibility to mental health care. And a lot of crazy things have happened over the past few months, and we've entered the stage of, well, tackling that, which was introduced about a month ago, which was our wellness support program. So this is a curated program where you would have group therapy sessions with trained professionals. You would have movement sessions, you'd have breath work. We're hoping to create a workshop on anxiety. We wanted to create tools that people could take away from these programs and use even after the program ends.
Yeah.
And the best part about this whole program is it's available to anybody who wants it, completely free of cost.
Amazing.
And yeah, so I was really lucky that about 2 months ago, I was introduced to an organization called Utopia. They are a network of change makers, youth activists creating sustainable change across the world. And I was awarded a grant by them that helped fund this project and also invited to join their circle of youth. So I'm now in the company of a lot of activists working in this space as well. And we're able to collaborate and create a space together. So it's been an incredible journey, and just discovering community and that being expanding, and kind of like I really have fallen in love with the concept of community, because it's honestly where change happens.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for taking us a little further into the journey of Mind Matters. And it's so cool about hearing how it's evolved. So, how would you describe the different branches of Mind Matters? Because it's got almost its own different entities to it almost.
Yeah, I mean, perspectives is about like people. So the conversations on perspectives has always been about creating a space where people feel comfortable enough to share what it is that they want to share. And you have been a guest on my podcast as well, so you kind of know my process.
Mm.
So I've always like asked, like, would you be up for a chat with me first before we actually do a recording? And if you feel like you can trust me enough, then let's go ahead with the recording. Don't feel any obligation to say yes. Because I've always noticed, and I do believe that like having that connection is so important before we talk about the hard stuff. Because it's not easy. Because I'm asking someone who I've never met before to trust an absolute stranger and then share your deepest, darkest journeys
Yeah.
for a platform so that more strangers can hear you. So I've always tried my level best to make sure it's a comfortable space and to make sure that anyone I've hosted feels safe enough there. And I have to say, I've learned so much, and I don't think I would have learned what I have over the last year had I not started this. And I have now some incredible human beings in my life, present company included, that I am so grateful to say that I have as friends. And I would have never met had I not done this. But at the same time, because like I said, my academic background and my training, it's not mental health, it's not psychology. And it's really important that we're careful with these kind of discussions, because we don't want people to listen and then find themselves in a harder space. So that's why when you listen to perspectives, you won't hear any sort of advice in any kind of manner. It's just people sharing their stories. Because when we share our stories, when people hear them, even if you don't relate to the entirety of it, but you find a small snippet of an emotion that you can relate to,
Mm-hmm.
it sort of validates our own feelings, and you feel less alone, which is what we want perspectives to do. But we also wanted to make sure that we're taking this in a safe manner, which is why a step towards health is just a platform where the specialists get to talk and sort of clear up these kind of questions. Because a lot of people have these doubts like, what is a panic attack? What is an anxiety disorder? Are they anything similar? Are they different? Is depression something that only manifests enough? Is it only like us sitting sad in one kind of space? Because those are the kind of perpetuated concepts, like
Yeah.
where it's represented in media like that, in books, whatever it is. So a lot of individuals, their information is from those kind of sources. So we just wanted to bring together the actual source right from the trained professionals,
Mm-hmm.
and completely free of cost to anyone to access. That was kind of the idea behind those two. And with the wellness support program, we wanted to create tools that people could use. And I've seen a lot of these community based programs do wonders for people, because not only do you have the access to the tools, but you also kind of form a group because
Yeah.
of these group sessions. And I noticed it already as our program started. A lot of people were slowly opening up, and like
Mm.
almost like friendships were kind of forming. And you know this as well, and I know you believe it as well, like community is such a big part of our lives, and how we look towards community in itself as a coping mechanism and a coping tool. So we wanted to create something like that. And when we really just factored in, like, these kind of community based programs, they're expensive
Mm.
and not everyone has access to it. And then when you factor in things like currency exchange, for some people it's not even a dream, it's
No.
just unattainable. So we wanted to create that free of cost for everyone. So that was kind of the main three, you can say the three pillars right now of Mind Matters.
Yeah, and it's incredible. It's incredible. Obviously, I spoke to you when it was just perspectives, and it's so incredible to see where it's continued to evolve with it kind of took a further step with a step towards help, actually being able to have therapists be so generous with their time and expertise and offer up that information, like you said, those questions that you wouldn't be able to answer. And then it's gone even further from that, being able to offer like a support program where they, and the biggest thing from that, like you said, is community. I think community is so important. As a coach myself and having my own community in this podcast community, that's where people come together, right? And can support each other, can cheer each other on. You feel less lonely, and that's what life is about, connecting with yourself, and then being able, and when you connect with yourself, the beautiful thing is it allows you to connect better with others. And certainly with MindMatters, they have that beautiful running thread between them, something they can, that would normally could be such a difficult time and experience for them. Actually, that's something that's been able to bring them together in some small way. And over your time with MindMatters and speaking to all these different therapists and professionals, what do you think we mean by mental health? I think there's so much more awareness around these days, but some people still don't even understand the concept. So for you personally, what do you believe mental health means?
So I love this question because it's like you said, everyone has their own definition to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the mainstream portrayal of what mental health has been very limited to just the concept of depression, is what I've noticed. And I think from my conversations also, I've learned a lot.
Mm.
And I think for me, what mental health is, there is this idea that good feelings and bad feelings.
Yeah.
And you only, when you're feeling your good feelings, you are in a good place.
Mm.
When you're feeling your bad feelings, you are not in a good place and you should never be in that place. Is this kind of a stupid binary that exists almost. And I think reading that binary and feeling all your feelings, I think just accepting that life is both up and down and there's going to be good, there's going to be bad. But we're going to have to experience all of it because that's what life is. And so from that understanding and like acceptance of that concept, like there is no binary with feelings. It's just all these different experiences. Is when for me, what mental health is being able to experience all those feelings,
Mm.
and it's okay with what my reaction is to it. Because when I do experience those feelings, I'm almost, I am a person, I am a human being, and that's kind of what my understanding is. So mental health, physical health, it all just ties in. It's like make it a mathematical equation if you have to.
Yeah.
But your mental health plus your physical health plus your emotional health equates you to a human being. So I think that's kind of been my sort of takeaway from everything. And yeah, I think just feeling your feelings and being okay that you have feelings has come to be my definition of like mental health, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes so much sense. And that awareness is so important, right? It's that being aware and accepting the duality of life. You know, you can be both excited and nervous at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. The Indian in me clearly started showing as I brought mathematics into this.
Yes. Thank you. Um, Maths is not my strong point, so I'm glad we've got you to bring the mathematics for us. But yeah,
I
beautifully.
mean, I'm a lawyer. Would you really trust me with math though?
I mean, I would. I trust you, you more than I, that's for sure. But yeah, so beautifully said and articulated. I think we need to have more space for duality in life and the acceptance of, you know, both the good and bad, and have a bit of that equanimity, that balance. And I've told you so many times, but I'm so in awe and inspired by the work you're doing. I think your efforts to make mental health more accessible is truly life saving for many people. There's so many people that wouldn't have access to this kind of support without you. And I know many people, including myself, look up to you for it and the work that you are doing. So I'm intrigued to know if you've had any mentors along your journey. Are there any people that have inspired you on your life journey so far and have particularly inspired you to strive for that positive change?
Wow. Um, yeah, I think as corny as it sounds, I think every person that I've had a conversation with, and everyone who's been part of the Mind Matters journey, whether it's been in the capacity of helping me out in the back end of stuff or being on the podcast or whatever it is, every conversation I have taken something away from it, and that has helped me grow and learn and
Mhm.
understand and continue this kind of work. And also, the reason I started this entire project was kind of, again, goes back to what my experience was like losing my brother.
Mm.
And he was the kind of person that did what he felt was right. And he always kind of pushed me towards, that was the kind of person that I saw around me all the time, doing what he thought was right and putting his heart and soul into it. And that was kind of what I grew up seeing. And I was like, okay, so that's how I got to tackle life. Find what I think is right and then put my heart and soul into it. And I felt like this was the right thing to do, and I continued. And oddly, this is a funny thing, but I also find an inspiration in the character of Batman because as anyone who knows me, and Meg, you also as well, my inclination towards this character is a bit high for sure. But I think a lot of people, what they don't know is the reason why I really love this character is if anyone does know the backstory of the character, for me personally, I relate to him because he comes from a journey of grief as well, where he loses the most important people in his life and what he makes of that kind of loss. And almost like he put on that suit to make a difference. And it's almost like Mind Matters is that suit for me.
I love
And
that.
also,
So beautifully
he's
said.
it's a reminder that you don't have to be some sort of alien with superpowers or struck by lightning and get super speed, but he is a wonderful reminder for me that if you have the idea and the passion to do what's right, that's what you got to do, regardless of your situation, regardless of your resources, what it is. All you need to make a difference in life is the want to do the right thing. And I don't know, that's kind of what I saw in my brother as well. And I know I love to keep this project going because, like, amongst a lot of different things, I feel like this project is almost an extension of Sanjay. And it feels like I'm keeping his essence and his soul alive through it. So I think that's one reason why whenever I work on Mind Matters, and you've seen this as well, there is 110% effort from my side because I feel like it's him. So I
Yeah.
don't see any reason why not to put my 110%. If that answers your question.
Oh, above and beyond. And your brother sounds like such a special person. And I'm so grateful that this can be an extension of him. And you are, through these projects, you're able to share all the values that have inspired you and inspire others. So thank you to your brother, as I've definitely felt his heart through your projects. And it's a really beautiful thing. So thank you for that. And thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. And during your time through creating Mind Matters, what tools would you say you've picked up along the way that have been, what have you been able to put in your toolbox that's been able to help you on your mental health journey?
So before I started Mind Matters, my tools were limited to two different things, which was mixed martial arts and music. And so my mixed martial arts is definitely something I heavily depended on
Mm-hmm.
because it was, for me, that was what was working.
Yeah.
But I had an unfortunate injury about a couple of years into my practice. And I haven't been, since then, I haven't been able to get back to it. I'm still on a long recovery path for it. And that's when I realized that having only one tool and being dependent only on one tool was the biggest mistake I did. Because when I didn't have that, I went into a whole other spiral. And through Mind Matters, I've been very lucky to build my toolbox. And I think something that I had always wanted to sort of establish into my routine was meditation and breath work. But I struggled so much to do it myself and I couldn't. And I was incredibly lucky to make a friend who is incredible at this stuff. And that is you, Meg, because I remember about a couple of months ago, I still remember you texting me and you remembered that I mentioned that I wanted to get back into wanted meditation in my life, but I couldn't do it myself. And this was not a conversation that should have left an imprint, but you left those two sentences stayed in your mind months later, and you dropped a text to me saying that, why don't we give it a go together? And we started having that routine of getting on a Zoom call almost every night and we'd meditate. It would be for about 15 to 20 minutes, but that made such a huge difference. And I still remember the first few sessions. The reason I could stay was because of how you held that space. Because I still remember, if you remember the first session, I was so nervous about it.
Yeah.
I was up on the terrace and I literally had like 6 or 7 potted plants right next to me because that's how I felt safe. I started off literally holding potted plants because I felt that unsafe with the concept of meditation, because being silent and alone with my thoughts is something I struggled with. Yeah. But I remember when we were doing the meditation as well, every couple of minutes you'd check in and like, are you okay? I'm right here. And I felt very safe. And I think that's an incredible thing about you, because I've witnessed it firsthand about how much you care. And I don't think it's not easy to make that feeling, especially when it's just across a phone call. Like we're in 2 different continents and you still made me feel like that. And which is why I'm very grateful to you, because we've developed that habit for a while and it's stuck through now, and I'm able to continue with my meditation. And you have been so kind to even start it on your own Instagram page, your daily breathwork sessions. And again, it's going to help so many people. I am so glad that you started it. And from the first time you told me that you were going to do the daily breathwork sessions on your Instagram, I was like, this is awesome. I have had I firsthand experienced how good you are and how you helped me get into my practice. You are going to be helping so many people. So I am so grateful to you for that. But
thank you.
Being able to say that I have meditation and breathwork in my toolbox now is only because of you. And I'm really glad that I do. Because now it's not just one tool I'm dependent on. I've got community that I can lean on to, and I've got music, I've got my movement, and now I feel like, and I have to say, my mental health has gotten so much better. Like me handling it has gotten a lot better with these different practices, for sure.
Amazing. And firstly, I'm so proud of you. Your journey has just been so beautiful to witness. It genuinely has. That doesn't mean that there isn't still bad days, like we said, mental health
absolutely
journey. And some days it can feel like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But it's that, I think the biggest thing, hopefully I imprinted on you, is that consistency and being able to, just that 1% better each time. So thank you for trusting me in the first place. I remember how nervous and scared you were, almost like you had your hands in little fists. And that was perfectly normal. A lot of people, anything new that you're approaching can be scary, because you're going into the unknown, really. And having had such a difficult experience previously, sometimes being left with your own thoughts is the scariest thing, because you're not able to trust yourself at the time, right? And yeah, I'm just so grateful for your trust in me. And over time, we've been able to build that trust in yourself. and take a moment to slow down, because I think before a lot of the tools you had were like distraction techniques, right? Would you say that's
Oh
fair?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I would immerse myself in so much work that I never gave myself a moment to be alone with my thoughts. And again, this is also something that I learned from you and my community, the idea of taking rest. And you know this more than anyone else because of how much you've seen it now. I never took a break.
No.
I would never stop. I would have 100 things going at the same time if I had to. But I've come to a place where I'm okay taking breaks. In fact, oddly enough, today I'm making the announcement on my Instagram on MindMatters. Like, of course, this episode comes out later, but on the day we've recorded, that I'm taking a break from perspectives for the next couple of months. We're taking a break from recording and also just kind of get ready for the next season. But I know that I've recognized when I need my break, and before I would even refuse to acknowledge that I need one. And I've come to a place now where I'm recognizing that I need a break when I have to take it, and that I'm actually following through with it.
Yes. And I'm so proud of you. It's genuinely not easy. And I think we can live in a time where selflessness is almost worshipped. And yes, being I think there's a difference though. You are someone who's so incredibly kind, and you put others at the forefront of what you do because you're so passionate in helping people. And I think that is a truly beautiful quality. But I think we can champion the idea of selflessness sometimes. And if you break that down, it's considering yourself less. And that's when that
Mm-hmm.
disconnection comes there, right? So I think it always starts from beautiful intentions, but we can literally lose ourselves in that. And I think there was before that selflessness of not thinking about yourself because it was scary to, right? It was scary to be
Mm-hmm.
left with your own thoughts, because as soon as you weren't going 100 miles per hour, then that would give you time to think about difficult things, which at the time you didn't have the tools to deal with. So I'm so proud of you. I'm so grateful for your trust in me. It's been so beautiful to work together. We truly have been a team in this. And yeah, it's the best feeling ever to be able to see you take a break, take rest from the work, and know that your work is going to be even better for it later down the line. You're actually going to be able to show up better for others, and that actually you're starting to be able to connect with yourself again, right? Finding out
Oh yeah, 100%.
who am I, outside of this trauma that I've experienced that has played such a massive part in my life. Who am I outside of that, and how do I want to show up in the world and move forward, and how am I feeling? And I'm just so proud of you. I genuinely am. It's making me emotional. Like I'm really am so proud of you. And this is just the
You know,
beginning.
it's interesting. This entire project, I
Mm,
started it like I was supposed to kind of think about this recently. Mind Matters in itself is almost a trauma response.
yes.
Like I was at a place where I didn't have anything. Like we were like mid of the pandemic.
Yeah.
School was online, and when I was in school in person, I was involved in like along with classes like 100 different activities
Mm,
again. So I was always on the move. But we were kind of all forced to a standstill with the pandemic, and I needed something to do, and I finally came to a place where okay, I can work on this. So Mind Matters in itself is a trauma response almost because I didn't have anything. So I was like, okay, let's work on this now, and I started
yeah.
like I dived headfirst. And how a trauma response has kind of developed into me dealing with my trauma now has been quite the journey. And just sort
Yeah.
of taking a step back and kind of looking at it, it still blows my mind.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's an incredible journey, and yeah, I'm so proud of you, and I'm excited for you because you're just getting started, really. And to see the confidence that you have now, you really truly like just embody your values and sit tall. Like even now, you just sit taller. You have a smile on your face. You're so often in front of the camera now, like taking ownership of these incredible things you're doing. Before, you didn't even really want to be seen. So taking ownership and being the face of these beautiful initiatives that you've done, it's just the best. It's incredible. And it's been so fun this month working on the breath work for the month of December. And you were my inspiration for that, actually. So we'd been doing the meditation together, and I know how difficult the month of December can be for you. And it can be, and I realize it can be a difficult time for a lot of people. And I just thought about you finding this time difficult, how many others do as well, and also how you've been able to help others with their mental health journey by making resources accessible. I'm so lucky in that I've been on my own journey and I've trained in breathwork meditation, and I thought, what tools do I have to bring to the table? And I just wanted to make breathwork, this learning, accessible this month. And I thought, why not, during a very difficult time of the year, help people have a resource where they can connect with themselves? So every day of December, on the Meg Method Instagram, there is a free live breathwork session. It's around about 20 minutes, so people can check in. And it's saved. Even if you can't catch it live, it's saved to the wall. So obviously we're quite a way into the December month now, but you can start that anytime. And the feedback's been beautiful. And that hopefully next month is going to be growing into an even bigger program. So thank you for being the inspiration behind that as well. Appreciate it.
I have no idea how grateful I am to you for what you've done for me.
We are a team. We are a team through and through. Team Meg Method. You are fully a part of it. And you're one of my shining stars. Look at you now. Look at you now.
I'm close to getting back into my hoodie, I will be honest.
There we go. I'm telling you, you are so welcome on Team Meg Method, and I'm so proud of you. And it is continuing to be an absolute privilege to coach you. So what a powerful community we're creating. And speaking of community, what is one of the biggest things you've learned whilst growing your community, and how do you hope MindMatters will continue to evolve in the future?
I think to say that I've learned lessons from this journey is an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, we're so comfortable in our space, in our bubble, and in our circle. We don't think of ever expanding. Like, we get comfortable, and sometimes that's a trauma response. Like, you feel safe and you never want to sort of step out of that. And I think MindMatters really exposed me to so much that I never would have looked into on my own. And it has been incredible how it has influenced and broadened my understanding of life and so many things about it. But I think one of the biggest lessons that I have to say that I've learned with MindMatters is embrace empathy. I think that is what I would take away. Embrace empathy, because when you feel, you understand. And when you understand, you act. And sometimes it's overwhelming. And I completely agree with that, and I understand. But when it's overwhelming, we have community to fall back on and to share that overwhelming feeling. And I think embracing my empathy, and I know I am an empath, and I know you are too. So I think that's one reason why we've always been so, how we've been able to share experiences the way we do. And I'm sure you would agree as well, because you feel, and once you understand, you want to do something about it. That's what kind of pushes you to act. And I think as human beings, one of the best things about us is that we have this ability of empathy. So I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, and I think now I kind of share it whenever I can as well. Like, when people ask me what's one thing you wish we all did more, is embrace empathy.
Yes, I love that. Couldn't have said it any better. Yes, yes, yes to yes. Beautiful. Empathy is so important it's one of the biggest things that connect us. And I think in order to be empathetic, we've got to be showing up as ourselves, right? Being authentic. And yeah, empathy definitely is a superpower that you have. You are such a gift. I truly believe that anyone and everyone can benefit from your work. I encourage anyone listening to go check out Mind Matters. And I would love people to be inspired by all of the work you are doing. So how can people learn more about Mind Matters? Where can they find you?
So we're on Instagram, and the handle is MindMatters _ the podcast. You can also check out my personal profile. There are just random baby pictures of me and me pictures of me covering my face,
It's
um, which which is at sneha.ksd. We also went live with a new website, which is mindmattersinitiative.com, which kind of gives you a layout of everything Mind Matters is doing. And I think one of my favorite things about the website is the about the team page, for sure. If you check that out, you will realize why it's my favorite. But you will see the team behind Mind Matters and honestly the true essence of what this project is on that page. But yeah, and you can reach out anytime. I'm always here to listen. I am always open for conversation.
Definitely. And yeah, it's a beautiful website. So to go check that out. And do you have any upcoming events or information that you would like people to know about?
Yes. Okay. So Meg has been so kind to give me this space to kind of share one of the newest projects in development. And I have to say, it has taken a lot of thinking about getting to this stage and sort of accepting the concept of community and saying that let's do this together. Anyone who knows me knows that I find it very, very difficult to ask these kind of things with people. But so the newest project that we have in the works is children's books. So I started off writing, and that's kind of how this project grew. So I'm kind of going back to my roots of writing again. And we thought about how these conversations are making such a big impact in our lives now. What kind of impact could it be if we had these conversations at earlier stages of our life? And how just being aware of those kind of things at that point in time, how it would affect us reacting to situations as we grow old. And that kind of was the inspiration behind create making this decision of writing storybooks for little children. So as of now, we are going to be tackling the first topic, which is grief. I've personally been on this journey of grief for almost 7 years now, and all my lessons that I've learned from it, I have decided to put it into words. I have been very lucky to collaborate with different therapists from across the globe. And we have a therapist that has already vetted all our stories and believe it to be appropriate. And um, I'm good with words, but not anything else. So we are going to be illustrating these books. And for the illustrations is when I'm going to need help. And so we are going to be announcing a crowdfunding GoFundMe page, so a link next month probably, so that we can raise some funds to have these stories illustrated and then published, because we want to create the conversations, but from like right at the start, I guess. So if this is something that you would be interested in helping out, or just like spreading the word, or even just like wanting to know more about it, I would 100% appreciate anyone and everyone's support. But,
Yes.
and we also have the wellness support program running, accessible to anyone, anytime. You guys can find the link in our bio to sign up. You can join for specific sessions you want, or you can join for the entire program. We have a very special breathwork session that's going to be conducted by Meg on our program as well. And I think that's one of the most excited sessions I am as well for this entire program. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on in the next phase of this project.
So exciting. And you have my full 100% support. So get on that, people. I think these books are such an incredible idea. And I know I'm so happy it's you that is doing them, because I know you will approach it like everything else in such a beautiful, tactful and creative manner. So I can't wait to see where this goes. So you have my full support. Keep an eye out for that, people, and make sure you go and check out all the Mind Matters initiatives as well. But Sneha, you are the best. Thank you so much for your time and your energy today. Thank you for your life-saving work that you do to promote mental health. You are one of the kindest and most hardworking people I know, and I know the world is lucky to benefit from your heart and your vision. Thank you for caring, and thank you for encouraging us all to take better care of our mental health. And thank you for being my kind of person.
Thank you so much for holding the space for the work that you do and for giving me a little bit of time to share what I've been doing. When you reached out and asked me to be on the podcast, my first question, which I did not say on text, was why me? Because I know the other people you've had on, and I know that's just something I've been working on about like being open to sharing, like accepting that people want to hear about this. But again, that's a journey, and you've been very helpful. And honestly, I don't think I would have said yes to doing this. This is actually the first time I've been interviewed and like really talking about my entire project with so much vulnerability. And I don't think I would have done it with anyone else other than you, Meg, because honestly, that's just kind of the space that you hold. Like it's so safe and like comfortable, and like that's just the kind of person you are. And your light is so bright, and I'm so glad that you share it with this world, and that I've been so lucky to get a little part of that as well. Thank you for everything.
Oh, well, thank you. That means so much. And lucky me for getting in there first, because I promise you this will be one of many conversations that people want to speak to you about, because you've just got so much to offer this world. And before we finally go, I always like to ask my guests, what is a piece of advice that has served you well so far in your journey that you would like to share with others?
It's okay to take a break.
Yes.
We are not defined by productivity and this concept of that because you're productive, you are worth rest. I think that very concept, we have that phrase like, I deserve some rest. I think that is something we have to dismantle. Just because we are human beings, we need rest. We don't need to work for the rest. We don't have to put in effort and think that we deserve rest. But I think just the idea that it's okay to take a break and it's okay to take some rest. And that's advice that I've been given for a long time. And it has finally come through the skull and reached me. But I guess that's something that I would want to leave people with. It's all right to take some rest. In fact, we need it.
Yeah, and there's that intellectual understanding, isn't it? It's hearing people say it and being like, I get it, but it's actually experience that understanding and accepting within yourself, like, I need a break. So I'm so glad during this break, whether this time of year is good for you or a difficult time, we were so happy that we're able to put this episode together for you. And then we are both taking a little break from our project. So My Kind of People, this will come out, you'll hear in the holiday season, but My Kind of People, the rest of season 4 will be coming out late January, New Year time. You will be coming back with more Mind Matters projects. So please do look out for that crowdfunder, and do look out for the initiatives program. You can message Sneha anytime about that. And yeah, in January, I will also be launching a the Meg Method program. So if you've been doing any of that breath work, if you're interested in meditation, or if you want to connect back to your body, I'm a personal trainer and also trained in yoga as well. There's going to be a brand new foundations program coming out that I'm so excited about. So it's going to be an 8-week program. And the team is starting to come together already, and we're going to be looking at creating a really solid foundation for better health. And what does that look like? So we're going to be looking at into your movement, we're going to be looking into nutrition, we're going to be looking at mobility, we're going to be looking at breath work, meditation. We're going to be covering it all. So if you're interested in that, send me a message. You can find me at Team Meg Method. And what was your handle again, Sneha?
You